Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. It's been a privilege to be part of this growing community from all over the world, with friends like Ron in New Rochelle, and friends like Catherine in Australia, and friends from all over the world. It is good to be together. It is good to be together. Bless all of you for being present. Shari and Judy and Trina. Trina, you're sending love from Rome. I am sending love back to Rome. Thank you for making sure that we are all united, knowing where we are from. Fabrice sending love to Paris. Curious Grace, glad to have you here. Linda and Arlene, Debbie from Florida and from, I think from somewhere around Westchester. If I miss saying hello to you, friends, please know I am counting you in. We need each one of our hearts to be here. Julianne and Janetta, Amy, Sharon, Arlene, thank you for letting me know. It is broadcast 910. You didn't say so, but I know you know, and if Penny's here, I know she knows too. Sherilyn and Lori, Joyce, Natalie, Boker Tov, Minna and Helen, good to see you. Eliana, welcome. Welcome. Penny, my beloved friend. You're up here and I'm looking down here, and you are present in both because we said which broadcast it was. You say 909, we've got a 910. Do I hear more? All right, let's get started, friends. Hi, Uncle Alex. Good to see you. Diane, so lovely to see you. Hope everyone is safe and strong and doing what we need to take care of ourselves and our sisters and brothers from all over the world. We'll be talking about that. Don't you worry. Stan, good to see you too. Hi, Natalie. Praying for your dog, Lola. I'm sorry she's not well. Maybe she heal. All right, friends. Take a breath. Here we go. Linda, my kind soul friend. Hi. Friends, it is so good to see you. Let me do a number of things as we begin. Also on Instagram Live, also on Facebook Live. It is so important to be present with all of you. Thank you, friends, for being part of this community. To my cousin Paula, sending love to you. Thanks for being part of this community too. And to Julianne, thank you everyone for asking how my son's bar mitzvah was. Let me get to there in a second, but first let me dedicate today's Torah to the amazing human being who I am blessed to call my son because he called me his. His name is Micah, and he is an Or Shalem, which is his whole name, Micha Or Shalem. His bar mitzvah was glorious, friends, and I claim him in my heart as a source of strength, as a source of love, and I offer it to him back. He stood with poise and grace and power and read Torah so beautifully and blessed everyone so much. It was beautiful, and we managed for 25 hours to manifest such joy. Such joy. And so what's really important for us to do is never, ever, ever, ever leave our children's joy behind. No one. ever gets to take that away. Naming that as it is and moving into this parsha, not moving the joy away, but knowing that alongside the joy is some very significant grief, some very, very deep grief. So it's important to name our world's moment and to be in it, and to remember that part of becoming a Jewish adult means facing the world as it is and taking responsibility for it and doing as much as we can as Jews to make it better. We are present often and always, thank God, for others. We cannot be less present for ourselves. And in this moment, the 16th day at war, after a pogrom, we are present. We are naming it. We are here. We are fiercely ready. And we are united with our sisters and brothers in Israel and Jews all over the world. I also want to dedicate today's Torah in memory of Samantha Wall, who was president of her synagogue in Detroit and was murdered on Shabbat. The police have decided that it was not a hate crime because there's no evidence of that, but I would muster a guess that it had something to do with her being Jewish. All over the world right now, our children on campuses, our adults, our babies, all of us are feeling this, and 220 human beings, Israelis, were stolen from their homes 16 days ago and are still being held in Gaza. And the world reports what Hamas says is true and doubts our own deaths. To quote Rabbi Sharon Brous, my Rebbe, who was the officiating rabbi at Neshama and my wedding, she said, "We just want to know that you give a damn about us when we die." I'm starting with that language because that's the fire that Torah demands this week. I want to share with you just a little bit of this week's parsha, not because it's calming. It's not. But because this parsha, these stories about the origin of our family with Avram and Sarah, wow, do we have so much Torah this week. Now, it happens to be that my son's bar mitzvah was Shabbat afternoon, so it means it was the coming week's Torah portion that he read. That's my bar mitzvah portion too. And Micah's brothers, Moshe. And my sisters. And my father's. This Parsha Lech Lecha we love so much. And there's part of it we never mentioned in any of our B'nai Mitzvah drashas. Never. What's the part of it? In chapter 14 of the book of Genesis, you will hear about the kidnapping of Avram's nephew Lot. He's taken captive when foreign kings, 5 kings, ransack Sodom, the city of Sodom, which we'll hear about soon, where Lot lived. And what you have to remember about the backstory, if you're not as familiar, is that Lot and Avram, despite the fact that they were family, could not get along. Their shepherds were arguing about how much pasture and land there was for their sheep, respectively speaking. They could not get along, but here's the verse. Once Abraham hears what has happened. Vayishma Avram ki nishba achiv. When he heard that his brother had been stolen, taken captive, he mustered his retainers, which is the English translation of, he got an army ready. He got an army ready. Yes, Avram and Sarah show hospitality. Yes, we see kindness and wisdom and graciousness and rootedness, wonder. But that doesn't take anything away from the fierceness of our response when our family is in danger. With all the gentleness that we are called to cultivate and extend in the world, all of the love that we share. That love manifests in this moment with our readiness to do what we wish we didn't need to do. The Jewish people has had a history of not having power at our disposal when our vulnerability is taken advantage of. We have an army now, and I wish we didn't need one. I've often translated Zionism as the ethical use of power we wish we didn't need, but in the days and weeks and likely months to come, we will have to use those tools to save our children. And be those children grandparents or great-grandparents or babies, or a young man named Ariel, whose family was murdered and whose bar mitzvah is this coming Shabbos. A young man whose bar mitzvah is this coming Shabbos. and his parents stolen from him. I was on a walk today and I saw signs in people's lawns, bring them home now. I hope that in one way or another you will be shouting this to all of your neighbors, to your elected officials, to the universe, to God, God's self. Bring them home now. That's what this parsha teaches. This parsha says that Avram went to war to save his family. We will go to war to save our family. I'm not picking up a weapon, but I am sending my soul and helping UJA's work in the world to respond by equipping our family with what they need, sending emergency cash to those who've lost family members to terror and who have been victims of terror themselves. We are sending communications equipment to make sure that everyone in the field can respond. And we had been told by critics of the protest movement in Israel that because of their protesting the government's attempt to overhaul the judiciary in Israel, that reservists would not show up in a moment of emergency. Well, you know what? 106% showed up for Miluim, for reserve duty in Israel when this happened, when a pogrom happened to the modern Jewish people in our homeland. 106. You know what that means? People who aged out went back to their units because they know that family demands nothing less. Nothing less. And our New York Jewish community and supporters from all over the world have brought together so much strength. We have raised to date $110 million in the last 16 days, with more than 29 million already allocated in the field, and we are in this. We will be in this until we are done. And friends, I'm saying not from a place of calm and not from a place of prophecy, but from a place of absolute devotion and commitment to our people. This will be done. Damn them for making us do this. But we will do this. We will save our children. And because of the absolute certainty that Hamas has given us, that if we do not face them with everything that we have, the power we wish we didn't need, if we do not do this, they will do it again. And you and I have an obligation to our family, not just to champion them, but to defend them in public. When newspapers take the word of Hamas about a hospital that probably was not destroyed in the way that we first reported or heard, not with a number of casualties, though every human being, innocent civilians, each one of them, Palestinian or Israeli, is a universe worthy of dignity. The world's journalists took the word of terrorists over our testimony that our children had been slaughtered. Friends, you and I, we have to make sure to allocate all of our energy, and yes, take good care of yourself, but to take a page from this parsha, which boy do I not usually say. I worry sometimes when people take verses literally, but in this case, in our parsha, Parshat Lech Lecha, Avram goes to war to save his family when they are kidnapped, when they are taken hostage. And here's something I want to share. Here's something I want to share. When it is done, and I will say it again with prayerful, trembling voice, this will be done. When it's done, the kings who are now aware of the ferocious strength of our family's love, the kings want to give Avram some of the booty from the war. And the Midrash actually says that Avram gave all of his soldiers money in advance so they would not think that that's what they were fighting for. We are not fighting for stuff. The kings offer Avram at the end of the war riches. And you know what Avram says? He wouldn't accept from them sroch na'al. He wouldn't even accept from them a shoelace. We don't want your shoelaces. We don't want your stuff. We want our children home. And we will do whatever it takes to bring them home. Babies are still hostage. Grandparents are still hostage. We don't want your shoelaces. We want our children back. And we will do what we must to get them home and to make sure you never, ever touch our family like that again. There is fire in me, friends, and I want you to know that fire is coming straight from love. From love. I do not deny the humanity of the other. Hamas is destroying the lives of Palestinian civilians because there is no other moral calculus that Israel and the Jewish people and the world must make. May our children be safe and come home. May we do what we must to be present, to be healthy, to cultivate warmth and gentleness in our hearts, to never dehumanize those we must face, but to never dehumanize ourselves by not facing it. Samantha Walls should be alive. A young man named Ariel should have his parents at his bar mitzvah this Shabbat. Babies should be home held by their parents. Our descendants should never have had to hear what they will have to hear, which is that a pogrom happened to the Jewish people in our homeland in 2023. And when we say never again, we mean it. This will be done. Friends, I hope that you see yourselves as implicated in this, because the world does, Jewish or not. To stand on the side of life in this case, there's only one side. Anyone who holds a rally for Hamas is not on the side of life. And we have to make that clear too. When I say never again, I say so with eyes that have changed over these last 16 days. A dear friend, my age, we've been friends for decades. We were camp counselors at Camp Ramanayak, where someone who served on staff is now being held captive in Gaza too. I saw my friend, we're about the same age, we've got gray beards, we didn't used to. And we looked at each other, and I feel in my eyes that I am now the ancestor that I remember speaking to. My life has been changed forever. Our people's heart has been changed yet again. We're all survivors now. We are all survivors now. And we will tell the world we want our children home, nothing less. We want safety, security, the right to live a dignified life as a Jew, nothing less. We will never, ever compromise on our commitment to our values on behalf of others. We will do our work in the world on behalf of racial justice and reproductive justice and LGBTQ equality and environmental protections. We will do this work. We have our annual fund going side by side with an emergency campaign that's brought in $110 million so far. But we will settle for nothing less for our children than what we fight for everyone else's. Avram shows that. If I say we are a united world and the Torah gives claim to God's universal concern, I mean it. But universal concern does not exclude my children, your children. So, I'll never be done pouring this out. But what I would ask you to do is, when we're done with this broadcast, I'm going to sing a song and then Hatikva. I'll ask you to pray with me, and then I'll ask you to do something. If you haven't yet made a gift to our emergency campaign, do it. Please do it now. The link is on your chat, and if you're on Instagram, just go to uja.nyc. You will find what you need, including all of the information about where we have allocated all of the funds. You'll find ways to get involved. Stay informed. Visit Times of Israel and go to their podcast, their daily podcast, which today was sponsored by UJA Federation of New York. Made me cry on my drive home. May our children, may all of our people come home now. Bring them home now. Now. In these moments, prayer is a nice outlet. It's a necessary ask. So whatever you believe about God, and I don't presume that we believe the same thing, but I do know that there's a universe beyond me, and I'm calling out to the universe. I'm calling out to the universe. Vayishma Avram ki nishba achiv. When Avram heard that his brother was taken captive, he did what he had to. We will too. So I pray to God to support us, to keep us human as we face something radically inhuman, and to remind us to have hope, to give us strength, to be our song. There's a song I wrote, I don't even remember when, it feels like 40 years ago, but I think it was just last week. Friends, wherever you are, wherever you're facing, there is an Israeli flag on your screen because we are together. Face east with me. Turn your heart to the east. Put your hand on your heart if you feel like it and just take a breath. We sing Hatikva with a reminder that sometimes hope isn't a choice, but sometimes sadness isn't a choice, but hopelessness is a sin. No hopelessness allowed. Let's go. Kolon balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia Lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chovshi be'artzeinu, eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liot להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow.